Welcome into the DNVR Rockies Podcast, brought to you by Strava Craft Coffee. Strava CBD coffee is infused with both CBD and CBG. It can be delivered to your doorstep every 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks, however frequently that you need. And now first-time users can get 25% off with code DNVR25 at StravaCraftCoffee.com. I'm your host, Patrick Lyons, and joining me today is the official artiste of DNVR and D-Line Co. It's very fitting. We're going to be looking at a lot of logos, so we had to have our guy, Eric Wedum, on. What's going on, Eric?
What's up, Patrick? Yeah, as I put out in a tweet just a minute ago, if people should listen to this, because this is my actual area of expertise, as opposed to just blabbing about sports, which is something I like, but I have no business doing. This is my actual unimpugnable opinions that you should listen to.
That's right. No, yeah, these are the big ones. I do have a side bet with some of the guys over on DNVR Nuggets to see how many times you can shoehorn Nikola Jokic's name in. So
do you? Okay.
We'll see if you hit the over or the under.
Okay,
we'll see. But before we really get into all the teams and stuff like that, I gotta ask: Are you a big fan of patches? Do you enjoy like the stitching and that kind of artwork? I feel like that is a form of design. No.
Of course. So I'm, the only reason that any of you anywhere know who I am is because I'm obsessed with sports design. I've always been into, patches are like the most, they're like the most frequently used way to get across sports design. Like, I have like such an obsession with looking at old sports design and like why it seemed like so weird and so like it was just done by outsider artists, and mostly it was because like old women had to like be able to, like old seamstresses had to be able to like sew things onto a baseball hat or like an old jersey. So yes, absolutely. Like the physical part of sports design is like super interesting to me.
And I know we haven't really discussed it at all ever on the podcast or on a live show. So I thought, now's a good time to kind of go back and look at some of the best patches.
We do not talk, just FYI. For everyone out there, we've discussed nothing outside of this conversation right now.
Absolutely not. So this was the inaugural patch that they have, which seems very early 90s. And I'm feeling it. What kind of grade are you giving the inaugural 1993 patch they had?
This is the most 90s design I've ever seen in my entire life. Like these like big, like the spikes, anything like really sharp and spiky, like originated in the year somewhere in the 90s. The 90s were like a really rough time for design in general. If you go ahead and look back, like in the whole annals of history, because it was like really the advent of computer aided design coming into play, so anybody could like go in and create designs using Photoshop and Illustrator, where before you had to be able to actually draw to make designs and patches. So I don't know, I don't like that it's like weird and wonky shaped.
Oval, like right? It's a diagonal oval.
Yeah, that's the shape of the patch itself, but this is like funny and kitschy and throwback, and so it's like cool because it just reminds you of like what once was. But like as a design, like I'm gonna go ahead and say no thanks.
I wouldn't mind slapping that just on like a trucker hat like that.
This would go so hard at this exact moment in time. Like the 90s resurgence we're in the middle of right now is so overwhelming and so like inescapable. But it's funny because I grew up during this time, and like this was what sports design looked like when I was a kid, and it was just like so fucking ugly. like the actual aesthetics of things were like not really taken into consideration. It was just like, how much can you jam in to one design and like have it still go through? So that's sort of where that one lies.
for anyone just listening to this as a podcast, go back and watch this episode on YouTube and put your face really close to the screen, and in the upper right-hand corner, you can actually see an episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's very 1993.
True. This design definitely originated in West Philadelphia. It was born and raised there for sure.
Very true. Now we advance forward to 2003.
Oh man, we're really getting just right into it, huh?
We're going full steam ahead. This very much seems like an outer space NASA type design. No, are you getting those vibes?
Yeah, there's two sources of movement here. There's the the spiky lines that are saying that the ball is traveling from the bottom of the mountain up out of the ballpark, but yet somehow it's simultaneously traveling around the mountain at the same time. It's very confusing. This is not a well thought out design. You're right. It looks like it's from outer space. This looks like a junior NASA patch. It's fine because, again, like a lot of this is tied in heavily to nostalgia, and it's like fun to look back at this era. And again, like this is like design maximalism, where you just have to jam in absolutely as much as you can into every single design. Otherwise, you felt like you were failing as a designer. So, yep, this exists. This is a thing that there is.
On the depth chart, I would put the expansion one ahead of this one. Like I like that, the 93 patch, more than this.
Yeah, it's like more interesting. This is just like, this looks like clip art for sure.
Well, all right, I think they hit a home run with this one. I'm sure.
Did you?
This one? No, not this
Okay.
one. This one coming up here. The 25th anniversary that we saw in 2018. I really think this was very well done. What are your thoughts on the 25th anniversary?
So this one to me always bothered me because it's like really off balance.
Wow,
like it's
okay.
The 25, like, so if you're designing well, you are finding ways to ultimately create harmony and balance. And like this to me feels like it's tipping over to the right because it's all of like that 25 obviously is the heaviest element in this design, and that area over to the left of the two is just barren. There's nothing. Like right in the middle, there's nothing also. So to me, this is a poor design. But again, like this, and like I don't know why there's only snow on the one side of the mountain. Maybe it's sunny on the one side, not on the other. I do not enjoy this. This bothers me. Like this, when I see this, I just feel like I'm tipping over to the right.
Now that you pointed out the 5, it's starting to bother me. Now,
I'm telling you, dude, like you don't understand. Like there are design principles that the sports industry just eschewed for almost all of my life, which a lot of it makes it like really charming and fun. And like, it sort of just like lives by its own rules. But in that you're asking me to analyze these from like an actual design perspective, like this is a start over from my point of view.
All right, let's kind of go back and take a detour and look at the 1998 All-Star Game patch. I think this is one of the best All-Star Game logos they've actually ever made, and it incorporates that green. That's something that I think we are all dying for, especially because it's been totally phased out, other than a couple starter jackets or leather jackets you could find vintage from the 90s. But the green really pops on this All-Star Game patch from 1998.
Yeah, I mean, this is again like there's too much detail on the mountains. Like this is again like this is just what the 90s is, dude. They're like
12 shades of purple.
There's the light purple, there's the black. I mean, this is like cool. It's cool, like, you know, again, like this as like a throwback patch. It's cool. Like people, you know, it's fun to look back. And again, the green, as you mentioned, is like such an outlier. And as far as the Colorado Rockies are concerned, like it doesn't really have a place in their identity. But as an all-star patch, you know, I mean, I'm with you. Like it's cool. The overall shape of this thing is pretty weird. Like if you look at the shape that they had to cut out, like the silhouette is what that's called. That like jutting out arm of the star is like creates a little bit of a strange shape, but you know, especially since this is supposed to be a badge. But it's like fine, it's cool. Like, I mean, like none of these are like designs that I feel like I need to incorporate in my life somewhere. Like I need to own something that has this on it. Like I'm good, no, all set.
Right, so we saw the 25th anniversary one, boxy. So was the All-Star Game one, which, considering the fact that they had to make this in about a 24-hour period, I thought they did pretty well for the time that was allotted.
This is like a more modern design. Like you can tell that this happened like more recently. Like you can see there's the details have been pared down greatly. There's not like a million elements in those mountains. It is actually in balance. You can see like they're actually like being cognizant of the idea that if something exists on one side, there should be something on the other side to counterbalance it visually so that it like actually feels harmonious. So yeah, like, you know, the overall shape just being a rectangle, a little boring, but like you said, I mean, they had to make this under duress. So, but you know, this looks like an All-Star Game logo.
Yeah, can't complain about that. Now the patch, okay, so you're on board with that. It's got some.
I'm on board, baby.
A little symmetry to it. Well, you know, we might as well talk about it now.
It does not have to be symmetry is not it's balance. Symmetry implies that it has to be the exact same on both sides.
Right, of course.
But the visual weight can be created through any number of elements, but you can't have one side heavier visually than the other side. Otherwise, it just feels like it's wrong.
Symmetry has balance, but balance doesn't have symmetry. It's like the square and the rectangle thing.
Absolutely.
Like so the patch they did a pretty good job with.
Pretty good job, baby.
Let's talk about the uniforms. Eric, when you originally saw these released, did you rip your hair out? Did you smash a table? Did you break a piece of glass? What were your thoughts on the 2021 All-Star Game uniform and cap?
Well, the 2021 All-Star Game and cap, like, yes, when it first came out, I was like, what the fuck is this? But then I started to realize and started to dig deeper and started to sort of understand me very, very clearly. The uniforms were designed for an All-Star Game that was to happen in Atlanta. They have magnolias on the pattern that is coming out of the edge of, or that's coming out of each one of the sleeves and that lines the inside. Like, that's the state flower of Georgia. So it felt a little bit like they were up against it and they had to make do with things that had been created long ago. Because, production times are like real thing. And especially now in this day and age where all you hear about is the supply chain. Like, the supply chain issues, I believe, were the ultimate culprit for why we just got these like leftover uniforms. I mean, I do have to say, like, when they were on the field, they didn't look like so super offensive, but like, you'll never see one of these being worn outside of, you know what I mean? Like, no one's going to be proudly wearing these around the ballpark at any point in time.
This is the All-Star uniform of the pandemic. Like,
dude, this is the most pandemic-y. Dude, this is the physical embodiment of supply chain issues. Like,
yeah, if you were successful and you're striving over the past 2 years, you should wear one of these jerseys and let people know, like, all right, oh, so you're that guy that's doing
like they made that red. That red is Braves red, but then they had to just like combine it with purple, which red and purple like live like pretty close on the color spectrum. There's a lot of red in purple. So like, they're not like two colors you would usually put together. Like, it wasn't like if given the opportunity to like come up with a thoughtful design package for the Colorado Rockies hosting the All-Star Game, this most assuredly would not have been it. All the same, like, everybody likes that ASG patch on the side. It's like whatever. And the funny thing is like when they made those stars to go behind the logo, like, I believe unintentionally, but they kind of created the shape of a columbine flower, which is actually the state of Colorado's state flower. But I think that was unintentional. I mean, those are clearly just like mountain peaks. So I'm going to say, screw you. I hope I never see you again. All-Star uniforms.
I hadn't noticed the Columbine thing. Like right, it does resemble that, I think, in a lot of ways. Did you have any thoughts on like, what you would have done, or if you?
Yes.
Then here we go. This is a really good platform to talk about.
No red. Like, if you're going to have, I mean, you would just like make it intentionally for Colorado. Like, that was that entire motif, as it were, was like Southern. That felt like warm. It felt like Tommy Bahama made those uniforms. So,
I don't want to drink Gatorade in those uniforms. I want to drink sweet tea. Is that
do you? That's most assuredly not what I'm saying, but I'm glad that that's what you're saying.
Would you have gone with vests, right? Because the black vests that the Rockies have, it's kind of become their thing. So you know what? Make that be the AL and NL uniform. That would be all right.
Yeah, maybe. I think I maybe would have tried to incorporate the pinstripes. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Like, for longer than the design. Like, I'm not even mad at the designers. I just understand what the scenario that they were presented with. Like, I mean, I've certainly been there where somebody comes to you with an established brand and they're like, yo, can you make this work with whatever new thing that we are doing that we haven't like really thought through? And I mean, like, thoughtless design abounds in this world. And it's just kind of what it is. But if you're making me like critically look at this thing like that, I've got issues.
There are two aspects of All-Star Game uniforms here in Colorado that I do want to look at. But first, I want to tell you to get your butt down to the DNVR bar on the corner of Colfax and York. We've got games streaming, watch parties going on all the time for Nuggets, Avs. Eric's down there with what's that gigantic beer, the Tower of Beer. That
is the Bud Light Tower, affectionately referred to as the BLT. I order up a BLT from time to time. I've been known to do it, and then we make jokes every time we fill it up about asking for more lettuce. Can you pour me a cup of bacon? Thit's a fun time for everybody involved.
So there's special slang and vernacular that you need to develop when you're down at the DNVR bar, which is great. And you know what? Even if you don't know that slang, the thing you will know and you should know is that you get a bigger beer when you're down at the DNVR bar when you're a member. Now it's only 50 cents for your first month, and if you do happen to want to get an annual membership, you get a free shirt, and that could include possibly the new DNVR Rapids shirt that we have out. It's coming out, and our great coverage that we have. And I know you designed that logo, and you should be very proud of that as well, along with the Phoenix Rising.
It's true. I love sports design. I love every opportunity I get to make a logo. This is why I get so incendiary and angry about logos online, because this is what I think about all the time. And I know the design process of what they went through. And I realize, I look at things when I'm like, yo, you didn't think about this at all. Whoever was doing this, either A, lacks passion for sports, doesn't have reverence for it, or just was rushed, or potentially, and oftentimes was just sort of an in-house designer, was a cheap option. So that's what bothers me. So let's get angry together, shall we?
I'm feeling good because I think they did a good job on the branding and the logos at Breckenridge Brewery for their hard seltzers, which the good company hard seltzers are delicious. Are you a honeydew? I don't think you're a honeydew guy. What do you like? Black cherry? What's your go-to?
What grown man professes to be a honeydew guy? Honeydew,
a real man. I think.
Honeydew, easily the worst fruit. It should actually be thrown out of the categorization of fruit. It should be, if not a vegetable, just an other. It's a filler. It's a filler item, not even fruit.
It isn't a fruit salad. I will agree with that. But guess what? When you get a 15-can sampler at Costco or wherever else you go, put those to the side and leave them for your guests. That can be your workaround when it comes to the good company hard seltzer from Breckenridge Brewery, which we also have down at the bar. Can't beat that. All right. So as I said, there are some good All-Star Game elements of it. Now, you might not have seen this one, but at the Futures game, this one I think is probably more coincidental than anything, or maybe they did have enough time to work on these and tie it into the Rockies, because the National League Future Game uniform had the black thumbs up, and they actually had some purple in it, along with a little bit of teal, a little bit of kind of a peach type color. And I think these jerseys are great, and you can't get them anywhere. I've never seen them online in any store.
Yeah, I find these to be exquisitely boring. I like that there is purple in them. These are just like the softball style. National, right. I get it, AL. Very boring logo, very uninteresting. See, this is what drives me nuts is that it's okay to do design like this. It's fine. It's safe. It's moderately, you're adhering to design principles, but this is a marquee opportunity. This is a big deal. If you get an opportunity to do a design like this is the dream of most designers, and to just be so timid and so just have nothing to say with this is it's a travesty. It doesn't feel like baseball to me. It feels like, I don't know. It feels like a construction company or something. It's it's just a logo like this, where it's a big, shape is conveying strength. This is a strong logo, and that's not baseball. Baseball's fun. Baseball is the national pastime. There is some, there should be some fun in there, or if not fun, it should at least harken back and call upon classic baseball elements, because the All-Star Game ultimately is a celebration of baseball as a sport. And so you should do something that feels like it's a celebration of baseball as a sport, not something that you just are well, I got to get this out. So here we are, National, done.
What do you think when you think of classic baseball? You probably think, at least for our generation a little bit, 1998, right? You think of the home run chase, McGuire,
old
Sosa.
Classic 1998.
Simpler time, a much simpler time when we didn't bother to ask, hey, what's in that deal? But what were your thoughts on the batting practice and the home run derby jerseys because I love them, and I'm already beginning to find that you and I disagree on a lot of things. I think these are very iconic,
Yeah,
specifically the National League ones.
yeah,
I'd
yeah,
pay a pretty penny to have one of those. Again, it's got the green that pops, and it
yeah.
has the purple mountain representing the A in National. And the American League one is nice too, with the black and purple as well.
Yes. So it is good that we have dissenting opinions. The one thing to consider is that I am right because this is my job, and
Okay.
you're wrong. So you should just listen to me.
Okay.
No, this is
Fair.
what I like. Every time I go on one of these shows and I break down design, like, and I have to explain to people, like, because I feel people are like, "Oh, I like that one." Like, you're okay. You're allowed to like whatever you like. Like, absolutely. Like,
Okay.
that's the thing is, everyone is allowed to like whatever it is that resonates with them and like feels right. I'm looking at it from just the long history of communication via visual arts, and there are rules that have been established since the beginning of time, and when people don't follow them, it bothers me. So I'm judging this from a critical standpoint of ways that I know that we could make this look better. I mean, the foundation of this is like moderately interesting. Do you see the shape that is created on the right of the N and the left of the L in National? Like, the shape of that is like so jarring. It like really bothers me. I don't like that negative space that is created. And again, we're talking about
That's fair.
a shape that is way too complicated in that mountain. Like, this is again like somebody just was getting their hands on computer aided design. Like, they were finally getting to design things with Adobe Illustrator, and they just went sick with it. So it's the maximalism that I do not care for. It's fine, whatever though. Like, I mean, I like these for the reason that most people like old sports design, in that it's the nostalgia, it's what it represents, it's like fun to look back, and it's an outlier. It's like something that's unique. But like, do I like this as would I make this? I would not make this.
As a photograph, I enjoy the idea that maybe at some point, if you look at the size of Mark McGwire, at some point in the offseason, he probably ate a piece of steak the size of King Griffey Jr. He's just towering over him.
He definitely ate a steak the size of Ken Griffey Jr. and he topped it off with steroid infused butter, and it was delicious for him. I looked at that. That would be great.
That sounds good for the foodies.
It does.
All right, so Rockies have 2 new minor league affiliates that came about this last year.
Minor league is where we get fun. Like, minor league does not take itself seriously at all, so it's all fun.
No. So, all right. So I think this is where we're going to hit a stride. So the Fresno Grizzlies are their low A team. They've been around for a while. They were a triple A team, actually, for a period of time. And just this past year, they're doing a bunch of different identities. That's the big thing in minor league baseball, as you might know, is you say, okay, well, here's our name, 80% of the time. And then we're going to do a couple crazy nights where we're going to play under a different name. And so this is a faux back. Right, they didn't actually have a team.
I love this concept. I don't know. I've not seen it, but I love the concept of the faux back.
Yeah, so it was the West Coast Negro League, so it wasn't a part of the proper Negro National League at the time, and so there weren't anything to go back to with any old logos. So they had to kind of create this image, and so for a weekend coming up this season in 2022, the Fresno Grizzlies will play as the Fresno Tigers. And I feel like that does kind of have somewhat of a old school feel to it. Maybe a little bit too much going on with the coloration in the word Fresno, but you can see the F is a tiger.
Is a tiger mouth. So what they've done here is this is a true faux back, in that it does have elements of old school design, in that it feels like a non-traditional sort of like almost amateurish way to draw a tiger. The issue is that they then have, like, they're trying to mix old with 90s again. Like this, like these spikes, you see, like all this like super spiky design. This is what the 90s gave us. The Rockies logo has it in there. Everything that you look at from the 90s, they were obsessed with putting these like. And I think that the idea is that they're sort of like woodcut marks, and I don't know why they were so obsessed with it. I like the idea of this. I don't love it. I don't love that script for tigers. I don't like where it is on that swoosh. The mark itself, the F, the tiger, is like pretty cool. It's like interesting. I don't fully see it as an F, but like I can see it in the context of the fact that they have it.
Yeah,
I see what they were doing. Like I totally get it.
And this one's a little simpler. They're going as the
Yeah.
Fresno Growers. It's an apple
Yeah.
with a little green. I mean, it looks like a former president in a sense, with that leaf on the top. But
as a Grinch. Yeah, no, I like this. I like simple. This is simple. I always like when I make logos and shit for like, especially when I want to make them look old, like I will actually, even if I design it in using Illustrator where you have perfect shapes, perfect angles, perfect, like I'll then take it out and I'll hand draw it with ink to get a lot of like I like to get all of the perfection out of old logos, because that is what, like, if you look at like truly old logos, you can tell that they were drawn by hand, and like this was clearly done with the computer, which is fine. Like that's where we are.
It's an emoji almost in a sense.
Yeah, but I mean this is attractive. I like. I mean the red pops off the black. That green is super vibrant. Like this, this is a cool little hat. I like this.
So minor league baseball a couple of years ago came up with something called the Copa de la Diversión, which translates to the Fun Cup. And they said, hey, let's kind of tap into the Latin American communities in America. And so pretty much every team got an alternate identity that taps into their local market. Some teams did it better than others. And Fresno, because of their population there, said, hey, let's embrace the lowriders. And they've had some other iterations, but this one, of course, for the Rockies is a purple one. And here you see a purple little lowrider bouncing up with the purple brim on a black cap. And you're laughing, Eric. You're digging it. Would you wear something like this?
No, I would definitely not wear something. I would wear this if I was in high school. Like this is like
okay.
This is like this is super New Jack design. It's funny. It's fun. It's like it's definitely not like sports design. Like this should be like a something that appears in High Times, or should be like something like a like a hip hop magazine would use. It's like fine. It's like, but this is like the how squished the car is. The way that they've rendered it is like very cartoonish, but like it's like interesting, And I do one thing that I really do like about the current like era that we're in, and like where unfortunately it's like all comes from sort of a callous negative place of just being like driven by hard capitalism and just like wanting to make new things simply to sell them, which that clearly was. But I do like that like it allows sports teams to just sort of make one-offs that don't have to like tie into canon, as it were. Like they can just have fun and be frivolous and like make something and it's funny and we talk about it later. Like, it's a good illustration for sure. It's like very well done. Like, I mean, I don't view that as a baseball logo. But it's cool. Like I would, to answer your question, there's no universe I would wear that.
I like what you said about these things being one-off, because Fresno in many ways, I believe they may have quite literally been the first team that started the food identities. The taco truck apparently did start and originate in Fresno, and they've got all these, taco truck rallies and food courts and things of that nature. And so they were the first team to come up with a food identity where they were the Fresno Tacos. And now again, because and we've got the taco connection here in Colorado, so this is going to be a very
have that taco connection.
So I can tell popular cap. The Fresno
I can tell that the same person designed that designed the other one designed this as well. Like they love this like new school sort of like cartoonish bend that they're putting in everything, like that gives it that feeling of cartoonish motion.
A little graffiti. I think
it's super graffiti. Yeah, I guarantee the same person did both of them. I like this concept. I don't like this execution. This thing is way too big also. That's the other thing, like when you have like a really complicated design, you're not able to like get it to look correct if you make it too small, because thread is as thick as thread is, and you have to worry about like how the machines are actually able to embroider them. This is like a fun concept, and I see people wear these around every now and again. They're pretty cool. Like I would not wear this. I would prefer. But I love the idea, but again, like, I mean, this is like minor league stuff. Like the greatest part about the minor leagues is they can just really do whatever the hell they want, and it's fun for them to just like be bombastic in the way that they are designing things, because they have to scream at people to pay attention to them. So from that standpoint, I mean that's the thing. Like the difference between like major league design and minor league design is like major league design is it is steeped in heritage. It is all about, like the natural evolution of sports design. It sort of like has not only adheres to it, but has shaped a lot of what it is to have, identities. And if you look at every Major League Baseball team, it's just they'll have the monogram, just the combination of the two letters or a single letter or just something that's like pretty pared down and basic. And like this is like childish and it's funny and it's fun. And they just want people to say, they're just saying like, hey, look at me, look at me. So, from that standpoint, like this just feels like something you would wear again in high school, like if you were hanging out at the smokers corner, stuff like that.
I mean, I find it to be a quality cap to maybe wear to like a christening.
Oh,
or something like that. I find it to be
a job interview, stuff like that. Sure,
it would go well with khakis, right? Because of the tan that's in there.
Yeah.
I think they would go. It would set off an outfit with khakis. My real question is, what flavor taco is this? Because there's some pink.
I believe it's cabbage. That looks like a cabbage taco.
All right, there we go. That's why I've had you on here. I was building up 30 minutes to ask you the big question: what kind of taco is this? All right, so the other affiliate they have, and they don't get as crazy with their identities, the Spokane Indians up in Washington, and they get creative in the sense that they embrace their red band trout, and they've got an alternate cap with the trout on it, good colors.
Yeah.
And you'll also notice the letters that are on there is Salish. That was the language that was spoken by the Spokane Indians, and so they've acknowledged that and had Spokane in the original language.
Yes. Okay, so this is a very well executed illustration as a logo. On the cap, it's more than I want. It's like too much happening up. The thing that I love most about the minor leagues is that you spend all of your life as an athlete, like trying to break into the league, wanting people to take you seriously, wanting to ultimately be remembered for your athletic conquest. And then when you get to the minor league, they just like dress you like a fish. Shit, like they'll like make you look like a sponge or a hot dog or something. Like I don't know why they feel the need, like they go so over the goddamn top. Like why are you making the players look like they are also a salmon? That is weird to me. This is like it's a costume. This is a costume.
It is. No, there's some really crazy ones that we will get to at some point. It can be a little bit trippy, which is probably a good time for me to mention Lightshade, since they've got their fast acting dissolvable gummies from Ripple.
You could absolutely wear the tacos logo to Lightshade, no problem.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get a discount. I mean, you can, with code DNVR on non-sale items, you get 25% off with or without the cap. It doesn't matter. But the dissolvable gummies from Ripple are clinically proven to hit 2 times faster than the leading gummy. Ripple starts absorption within 10 minutes, so you can depend on a consistent experience each and every time. With Ripple dissolvables, you can make anything into an edible because of the flavorless and dissolvable powders. That's right. It's called Ripple Quick Sticks, and it's the most convenient way to get the fastest THC possible. You can just pour it on your tongue if you want. Where can you find Ripple? Look for Lightshade, Colorado's premier dispensary with 10, soon to be 11, convenient Denver, Metro, and Aurora locations. Eric, what's the one that people can most likely find you and give them their feedback on their favorite caps?
Which Lightshade am I most likely to be found at? The one that's the closest one to my house, which is on 6th and Clarkson. It's the closest business to my home. I think I'm trying to see. I might have some Ripple around here. I'm a big fan of Ripple. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And again, Lightshade, they have something for everyone, casual consumer.
For everyone.
To the connoisseur, right? Whether it's casual or you're serious about your stuff. And again, remember, they got a premium selection of cannabis concentrates, top shelf flower, edibles, tinctures, accessories, and more over at Lightshade. Again, podcast listeners, you can get 25% off non-sale items with code DNVR. Shop online at lightshade.com for pickup or visit a Lightshade location near you. Finally, do want to let you know that you can save some money and you can also make some money. If you tap into Ball, make sure you text Golden to 77222 to learn about their open positions. Right now, they're actually hiring for production technicians where you can get raises at 6, 12, and 18 months. Oh, yeah, you're going to start at $27 an hour as well. Can't beat that. You get comprehensive insurance, active the day of hire, 401k for retirement. So many great benefits for working with Ball Aerospace and Technology at their plant down in Golden. Again, text Golden to 77222 and you'll get linked to their open positions, or you can go directly to jobs.ball.com and search for Golden. All right, before we get back into more minor league business,
just quickly, I want to tell you
Please.
about. I've been to the ball manufacturing plant, and it is insane. The have you ever seen how they like actually print cans and how they actually create those cans? It's like like the machines that they use to like spit these things out. It's insane, and like there's like so many like interesting things if you're a design person, which if you like that. Those early patches that you were putting on, you're probably not a design person, but something to take note of is like when you look at a can, you see that like silver line that's around absolutely every element. Anywhere two colors meet, like that like inhibits so much. Like I was designing beer cans, and it's like the things you have to take into consideration, because anywhere where two colors match, you have to leave a stay away gap, so that where the two plates in the lithography hit, like they don't merge over and bleed into one another. So it's like makes a bunch of like really difficult decisions that you have to make about the complexity of design. Anyway, go ahead.
No, that's very interesting.
Sure is, isn't it?
I find all that design. No, it is. I mean, back when I lived in New Jersey, I went to plenty museums and the Guggenheim and checked all that out.
You?
I've got my my
name dropping museums here.
Ellsworth Kelly, I'm a big fan. Roy Lichtenstein, they're some of my favorite artists, of course. Cool. Jeff Koons did some different things, but of course, anyway. Moving on. We've got a new. You talked about the major league, your minor league versus major league. There's three major league logos that I kind of want to show you, or jerseys. The big one, of course, being this year, the first year of the Cleveland Guardians, of course, having to change their name, but kind of keeping things similar. Obviously, the color scheme is going to be exactly the same with the navy, red, and white. You have the same 5 letters in DNs at the end, so that made it pretty convenient. Slight change on the letter C, and then we also have that interesting G around the baseball here in the logos. Again, make sure if you're listening to this as a podcast, get over to the DNVR Sports side on YouTube. What has been your take on these new design for the Cleveland Guardians?
This has been the worst audio podcast ever recorded. If you want to have any idea what we're talking about, you should probably check this out on YouTube. All right, so the Guardians, what they've done, they actually 90s-fied their word mark. They made it sharper and weirder. I don't know why they did that. I loved how the Indians looked. That was about as classic as you could get. I don't know why. They also there's little things they could have done. They could have made the point over the eye. They could have really easily made that a home plate, which like pretty much already the shape. Anyway, they didn't do that. I hate what they did with the 3/4 view of the baseball wearing the wings on the side.
That does not look good.
No, it's terrible, dude. This is again.
I don't think we're going to see that G again. That G is going to go at that point.
That is a minor league logo. That is an illustration. That is not a logo. Like that's not a patch. It like you obviously can create it as a patch, but like that's not in keeping with the history of the MLB. And there's like some other like. As it comes off of the G on the back side, like you see how the wings, where the feathers overlap, like as it gets down in the last one, it creates like a strange shape because there isn't an overlapped one because it's too short. This is just like poorly done. This like drove me crazy when I saw it the first time. They could have very easily just like turned this thing and put it so that it was just a baseball and then a G that was done in a flat way, like the C and the Guardians is, and created so that it could be in keeping with the rest of the identity. It's just such an outlier. Like doesn't fit. It makes no sense.
And this one shouldn't have been rushed. I mean, because I think they had been planning it for a while.
No, this was definitely not rushed. But what they were, it's shit like this. It's like it's not rushed, but you just have like you have decision makers that shouldn't be the decision makers. They're like. There's like guys that are just like owners and are put into positions of power, and they ultimately make the final call, and like they shouldn't be the ones to make the final call. Like it's fine, whatever, but like this is definitely a step back for what was an absolutely storied and an absolutely iconic look in the majors or the Major League Baseball universe. So, but the C, like that C on a hat, like that's baseball. That looks great. It's, ultimately it'll be fine. Like no one's dying from this, but like if you're telling me, if just from the side of somebody who would love to be given the opportunity to actually design something like this, like shit like that infuriates me.
Yeah, that would have been, well, hey, well, I know a couple of people. I'll have to send your email address along. Cool. And if they need an upgrade or they need a refreshing, they'll do that. Speaking of refreshing, also in the AL Central, Kansas City, they just refreshed their uniforms. Didn't do anything crazy. They just changed the road gray and alternate blue uniforms to have Kansas City with more block lettering. And then the home whites and the alternate home baby blues include what they call, quote, a bolder, more pronounced strip around the sleeve. In other words, look, we want you to buy the newest jersey that is slightly tweaked and therefore give us your money.
Yeah, I mean, these are great. This is baseball. This is baseball. This is like baseball. Baseball doesn't go too hard in the paint. The Royals, that's beautiful. Like that is as classic as it gets, that script font.
I don't like the block lettering. The Royals, I think, is
yeah. I mean, it looks that looks a little bit more like a basketball jersey, to be frank.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's to me, it's like it's fine. It's like in keeping with things that have been done in the past. I don't love how the type gets skewed as it goes along that curve. It looks like like the Y gets like a little bit, and the K get a little bit like squished. But I don't mind it. Like this looks like when you pair it with all the other items that make up a full uniform, they're fine. I mean, if I was a Kansas City fan, which thank God I'm not, and I never will be, I would pick the first one, the white with the royal blue in script. Like that is the fillet of the uniform offerings.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Do you like baby blue on baseball uniforms? Is that kind of nice?
So baby blue, I have such a troubled past with, and I have such a complicated relationship with, because baby blue was the color that the Denver Nuggets for some reason chose for themselves for a large period of time during the Carmelo Anthony years. And baby blue on an adult man is a really tough call. It's literally for a baby.
What are you trying to say, dude? Dude,
that's teal. That's teal.
Oh, okay. You're right. It actually is.
That's teal. That's different. But all the same, like that's a tropical color. Whether or not, I'm sorry, my dog I don't know what he's doing. But all the same, like baby blue is like just such a weird thing. Like baby blue makes sense in the context of certain cities and certain climates. Baby blue in the context of Denver, Colorado never made any sense to me. In Kansas City, it doesn't make sense to me either. But it does make sense. Royal blue. The Royals with royal blue make a lot of sense. Yeah. They do have a history with that baby blue. Like I think of George Brett and shit when I see that. So it's like fine. Yeah. History means something. So it's cool. But like, I don't like if I'm making something, I would never choose to put anything to put on an adult man with baby blue. I would choose adult blue, which is royal blue or navy blue.
All right. What was your take? We talk about old school and throwback, and this was kind of a confluence of all of those things this past season. You had the Field of Dreams game up there in Dyersville, Iowa. You had the Yankees and White Sox, two old school teams. One of these uniforms and caps I really like. The other one, not so much. What was your take on how well the Yankees and White Sox were able to do with these throwbacks?
This is his class. This is baseball. This is baseball. Big, like imperfect letters that look like a 90-year-old woman with a sewing machine, a seamstress, like had to create them, cut out felt, put it together. The only thing I don't like is that I don't like that there's not a logo on the front of the Sox's cap.
I like that. I think
you do like that.
Well, it's very much of that time, and so
it's of that time, but
they didn't.
It's of that time. It just feels incomplete. They could do. Sure. There should be a logo on the front of a cap, like. I like when things are imperfect. Like I like that Yankees logo being like off, but imperfect, but like done in a way that is like acknowledging that is intentional, and it's not like, I mean, it's like baseball itself is completely imperfect. So I don't like when things are like too tidy and too wrapped up unless, I mean, there's ways to do it, but I just love this look. It's just like, this is as classic as it gets. It feels like heavy felt. It feels like you can just feel the texture just by looking at it. And it just seems like something you're supposed to wear when you go watch a baseball game.
It looks heavy, right? It looks like it's wool almost, right? It's funny. I like the White Sox, what they did, and I actually don't really care for the Yankees. I mean, granted, they've been wearing the same uniform since then, so it's not like they could have had some kind of faux back that would have looked awful. So they enlarged the logo, and so I mean, look, that's all they can do, and so that's fine. But for the most part, I'm going to pass on that. And the White Sox
the thing is, it's like not all they can do. They can do whatever the hell they want. It's just like, why would they? Why would they? It's perfect. They've like made it perfect. So, you know, they don't have to make the New York churros, and they don't have to make the, you know.
We'll get to that in a second.
Whatever.
That's the thing. It's kind of a thing. We'll get to it.
Yeah, like there's something about like just getting it right and like not ever deviating from that, which I love. Like, that's always my complaint with, you know, teams like the Nuggets in the past, or teams that like are constantly tearing up their identity and starting over, and like making things that feel like they're trapped in the time in which they were created. Like, those two things, even though they clearly look like they're from like the 1900s, there's still like a lot of really classic elements that just never are out of fashion, never fall out of favor, which I really appreciate. And particularly when you talk about something like baseball is like, all baseball is history. It's just like a big book of numbers that people write down and look over and compare them. And that's why, you know, everything in baseball, if anything ever changes, everyone gets infuriated, because they're like, well, now we don't know if Babe Ruth was better than Nomar Garciaparra because we can't compare, whatever. But it's the continuity of the storyline. And like, when they acknowledge that they're part of a long-standing storyline, I love that. When they pretend that they are starting something brand new, I hate that.
Well, we're going to have you back on for another show to talk about, was Babe Ruth actually better than Nomar Garciaparra?
I don't think so.
Eric,
I don't think so.
You don't think so, but you don't know. Okay, wow. Hold on.
Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the book of numbers to find out.
All right, I'm gonna dog ear that page. All right, we do have two new minor league teams that totally scrapped everything and went back to the drawing board. One just came out on Saturday. Now, the Sugarland Skeeters, which had a logo of a mosquito, and they were actually an independent team. Started from scratch independently. They were one of 3 indie teams that got incorporated in minor league baseball. So they jumped the gap there in a major way. And so they went from the Sugarland Skeeters to the Sugarland Space Cowboys. Now, is their logo.
This is Daft Punk. They've stolen an idea from Daft Punk.
Exactly.
They've not even drawn the cowboy hat very well. I do not like this. I don't like anything about this.
These are some of the uniforms as well.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, whatever.
We finally agree on something, Eric. I don't dig this one. I think there's too many colors kind of going on. I don't like the name Space Cowboy because it's not original. I mean, we have a movie with Tommy Lee Jones in it. I mean, that's how I remember it. Not Clint Eastwood, but I remember Tommy Lee Jones and James Gardner. And who's the other one? Donald Sutherland.
Sure. Donald's, I think we were all trying to pull that one.
And it also references the Steve Miller Band song. And so I'm like, come on, minor league baseball, you can have something more original. No?
Well, I mean, the reference is good. I appreciate that. They're trying to make, this is in Houston. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. It's just outside of Austin, I believe.
Okay. Oh, so it's pulling upon the NASA and all that. I like the rocket patch on the side with the Texas flag and the simple rocket shape. That's kind of cool. Interesting. Whatever.
Too many colors, I find.
It's fine. But it's minor league. Like, you can do shit like this in the minor leagues. It's fine. Like, you can have total fun. This isn't like embarrassing for the players to wear, like dressing them up like a literal trout. So I like that. It's fine. It's fine. It's like, there's quality in this. It's fine.
All right, so you had the Beloit Snappers up in Wisconsin. So snapper, both a turtle and a type of pitch. Sure. That kind of works. Okay. They rebranded, and they incorporated their parent club, the Miami Marlins. So that's something that we might see more of with these new minor league teams, is because now the affiliations are going to be 10 years long, and it's not something that might change every 2 or 4 years or even 8 years. You're going to have a full decade. So you can get creative. And so Beloit went with a name for a bird. And I'm a birder. Just as much as Adam is. I know Adam gets all the credit being the bird guy, But
he's more boisterous about it. If you want to step up to that bird plate, you got to start posting bird content.
This is true. I'm a little bit more reclusive with my.
So you're
my
not.
bird
I
content.
just think maybe you're not on the same level, but that's fine. Go ahead.
Wow, I just don't brag about it. I was bombastic when it comes to my birding. But they named this for a bird, and I had never heard of this before. And I guess it was just a local term or something. They're called the Beloit skycarp, which apparently is what you call a Canada goose. By the way, I told Adam this. He did not know that Canada geese that stick around through the winter are called skycarp. So,
well, yeah, I mean that is a colloquial local
That's right.
way to refer to something that's not what they're actually called. Let's see. Do I like this?
The B?
I like
How about the B?
I like the
letter
B.
B is
Yes.
good.
The letter B is good. It is clever. It doesn't necessarily need that gray inset stroke on it. Everything else is like, it's. So this is the other thing is like, I am a very passionate cartoon. I love sports cartoons. That's like one of my deepest passions and something that I'm like most critical about. And to me, this is the wrong style of cartoon. This is too childish. And it's also like there's too much going on potentially. It has like the New Jack style. It's like whatever. It's like kind of fun or whatever. But like this for me, it's the wrong style. Like when people get the style of cartooning wrong, it bothers me.
I like the top left corner logo with the goose wearing a scarf. You go, oh, that's cute. Except it almost gives the impression that the scarf is wrapped around its neck far too tight. Its tongue is sticking out, and it's actually being choked to death by its own scarf. That's my problem with it.
That is tough. And you'll notice the way the sky carp and the logo on top of it play together, like that big gap in between, like above the KY of sky, where the wrench is, like these two were clearly designed independent of one another, so not, the lockup is not good. The balance is off because they just did a straight up center, starting from the tip of the tongue to the back of the tail feathers, and got that exact center, when really, like, visually it's heavier on the back, so you can actually move it forward to the left to strike that balance better. This is too much. They've done too much. They've gone too far. The B is clever. I do like that.
Also, how does a goose put goggles on? Moving on. Okay.
Moving on.
I'm going to throw two different logos at you because the Midland Rockhounds of Texas in the Texas League got a new logo. Which one's the new one? Which one's the old one? So here I'm going to show you one of the Midland Rockhounds.
Okay, Rockhounds, wrong style of cartooning. Okay, good.
Another one.
Oh.
Okay, so
this is the most, dude. This looks.
Like. Second one you hate.
The second one I loathe. This looks like a store in the mall that you go in to buy candy. The rock candy at the mall for the Midland Rockhounds. Let me look at the other one. I would guess that. Oh man. Which is the new? This seems like the newer one. This is like correct. A refined version of what the other one was.
I do like the pickaxe there over the state of Texas to make the letter M for Midland.
And
I think that's
the paw of the paw with the oil. That's pretty cool. In that they were starting from a pre-existing logo that apparently probably the owner like had warm feelings about and wanted to keep. Like, this is a well executed updating of an old cartoon logo. It's still, in my view, there's still the same issue that it's the wrong style of cartoon. But this is like really well done. I can't really. It does look like Rude Dog. You're so right.
I also think the old Midland Rockhounds logo, I used to not like it, and over time it's actually kind of grown on me. I kind of dig it.
Thing. Yeah, because
I think
you know
it may
what you
have been
like.
designed by Hanna-Barbera. I can't confirm that exactly, but it has that vibe.
You know what you like is nostalgia. Like, this is not good, but it's old, and so it becomes good because it's just nostalgia that you like. He is definitely wearing, like, he looks like he's wearing Fred Flintstone's like onesie.
He's wearing a tank top actually, which is not very conducive to baseball, so that's kind of troubling. But
I don't know, baseball. I better be conducive. It just wouldn't be good to slide with. That's kind of the concept of the vest, is it not?
You may need a nipple guard. or
You
two
made
there.
any nipple
Or
guards.
those.
True.
All right.
It's
The
true.
Northern Colorado Owls are coming out. They don't really have an official design yet. This
Yep.
was kind of taken from the old Orem Owls, but they've got some caps I think that they're working on selling. And so, okay, I like the colors, what they're doing. And again, some of the caps are nice. I
These
think
are great.
What they have so far is really a good start.
These are great. I really like these. There's the O is really nice. Like it kind of calls upon the Orioles maybe. They have a nice mix of doing a lot and then going simple. There's really good concepts in here. The design is really clean. It's a little like, again, for me, like if I'm making a baseball logo, I would like to weave in some imperfection into it. I would like to then make it, like if you look at old school, any kind of cartoons that are in sports that have been around for a long time, like there's imperfection, and imperfection is actually a benefit in my mind to sport design, as opposed to it being like something that needs to be eradicated. It just like makes things feel right to me when it's a little bit imperfect. But I think these are great. I really do think that that this is a successful start, as you say.
And hey, this could be a team that you could help rebrand eventually. Because again, this is the old logo. They just tweaked the colors and they're trying to get off the ground. This will be their first season in 2022 in the Pioneer League. So this could be an opportunity. Also in the Pioneer League, a brand new team in Kalispell, the Glacier Range Riders. I think they hit a home run with this one.
So color scheme's good. It definitely feels very National Park.
Very much. If the Boy Scouts had their own baseball team, and I sort of wish I didn't say that because that audio clip could be isolated. It might sound really bad. I'm not condoning the Boy Scouts to actually have their own baseball team.
Yeah. See, again, this is a cartoony style that is for children. This is a children's cartoon style. Like they are, and it's a little bit too pointy and perfect and blocky, and it's fine. It's fine. It's like all right. Like the RR, that feels like really cartoonish.
Yeah.
But for kids, cartoonish. It's it's fine. It's fine. Like this is not something I would like rush out to wear or get myself. But it's for a minor league team. This definitely feels like a minor league squad. That's for sure.
All right. Finally, in the independent baseball world, let's jump over to the Atlantic League, where the Staten Island Yankees. They are suing Major League Baseball because they were with a group of 4 teams saying, hey, wait a minute, our club was valued at this price and now it's worth much less. And we kind of had this agreement. And so they're still trying to go about their business. And they had an interesting, this ties into one of your favorite foods. It ties into doing things a little bit wacky. Do you remember that viral clip a few years ago of the Pizza
Rat?
Pizza Rat? Well, for a couple of days, they were the Staten Island Pizza Rats.
Yeah. I remember this.
This was what they had come up with, and I thought it was pretty creative.
Yeah, this is fun. This is I think this is probably done by the same. There's like one company, Brandios, that does almost all of the minor league logos, and so they all sort of like end up taking on this same aesthetic of like the really thick lines with the pointy ends, and this to me is a better. Like I like this more than the other ones we saw. Like this cartoon style I do like. There is imperfection in this. There is like, even though there is like a little bit too much perfection in it for me, just with the quality of the lines and the thicks and the thins. But I mean, this is cool.
The fact that the pizza bite was taken from the crust in the middle of the crust, is that the
very weird? Very weird. That is,
I love the flag. The pizza around the baseball bat. That is absolutely, that's aberrant behavior, biting from the crust first.
But I mean, this is cool. It's like, this is fun. This is totally fun. This is absolutely like what minor league baseball should be all about. Like it's goofy. It just makes you talk. And like, that's how minor league baseball has figured out that they are actually able again to get people to pay attention to them, is to just sort of like make these interesting names and have funny concepts. And, because just, they're not able to necessarily like subsist off of just the quality of the baseball alone, because I assume that their rosters are constantly changing, and it just feels like it doesn't matter or count. It's just like practice. So, but yeah, this is cool. I like this.
According to the Yankees, Pizza Rat was an embarrassment. They hated that, and that's something that's going into the lawsuit. Now they rebranded as the Ferry Hawks, and this has kind of a very much a 90s type vibe. You don't have to stick
This
on
has
this
a
very
coloring
long.
book vibe,
But I
dude.
kind of like it.
Book.
Yeah, I kind of like it that it's not good. It doesn't look like Grandiose. I'll say that. Right? It doesn't look like Grandiose.
It looks like a Brandiose knockoff. Like they didn't like, you know, they're trying to make it look like that Brandiose style, but they didn't quite get it right. Like that image of the hawk with the backwards hat, like hitting the baseball over the ferry, feels like something that would be used to sell kids candy in the 90s. Like, hey, it's like or cereal or something. Like, step up to the plate, kids. Like, or it should be in an activity book or. You know, it's like all right, whatever. The SI, the Staten Island, that's cool. That's pretty, like, that's pretty well done. But the rest of it, like, you know, I'm good. I'm good there.
All right, finally moving into the world of summer collegiate baseball. Hey, when players are done in their Division I baseball season, they go play in a wood bat league. And so here's the face-off. There was a team from a league I had never heard of, the Pacific International League. I couldn't even find much information about it, but it basically plays in and around the Seattle area. And they had two names they were going to go with. And Eric, let me know which one you like the best for this team in West Seattle. We have the Dub C Fish Sticks for, Dub C West Seattle, the Dub C Fish Sticks, or the Dub C Seal Slingers. And the image is of a whale using a seal, I believe, as a bat to bludgeon the baseball. And the fish stick guy is just a fish stick with a bat made of himself, kind of.
Yeah.
Which of these two do you like best? Because one of them got selected.
I guarantee. Well, so the Seal Slingers is actually like pretty morbid, dude. Like that is like I guarantee that what they're referencing is the way that orcas will play with seals and like grab them and throw them into the air while they're just essentially treating them like cats do mice, and they play with them before they kill them and ultimately eat them. I don't know why the seal is like so excited to be involved in this this dance of death with the killer whale.
And he has the cap, not the seal, or not the whale. The whale should have the cap, not the bat/seal.
This is very strange. These both look like these are mall food court restaurants. Like you could definitely go to the Dub C Fish Sticks and go to Seal Slingers and get a fun teeny and some like whatever. Like if you just which do I prefer of these two?
Or which do you think actually won out?
I believe I've seen the fish stick, so I believe that's the winner.
Yes. Yeah, the morbid end of Seal Slingers was no good.
It's a little, that's a little, it's like a little too intense. That's like that literally is the seal is going to be murdered and he's into it. So I guess, the fish sticks, although did you ever watch Futurama with the poplars? They were like everybody found these like new new food that was being sold at fast food, and they were called poplars, and then it turned out that they were actually the children of an alien race, and they were just all eating and didn't realize, and they basically looked like these were the poplars. So I don't like either one, but maybe that'll be the sea stick. What's that?
So maybe that'll be the mascot's name, Poplar. Could be
the Poplar. Yeah, good stuff.
All right, one more face-off here. Green Bay's got a summer collegiate team, and one of these names was pretty new, only a couple of years ago. They had just changed it, and now they've changed it again. We've got the Green Bay Rockers.
Okay.
Because, when you think of rock and roll, you think the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. And the Green Bay Booyah. Both are pretty new, but only one of them was the recent update.
Oh, my God.
What are your thoughts on these two?
Jesus
Same color
Christ.
scheme, right? Same kind of red, white, and blue with a little bit of yellow there, because I guess there's probably a home jersey that says Green Bay on it, so you don't really have to get new uniforms.
Yeah. Man, see, this Green Bay Booyah, I don't know if this was done by Brandiose, but this is absolutely the Brandiose style, so it's either referencing or done by. If they're going to make the Booyah the actual chicken foot, like why not go all the way with it and actually give it the talons or something? Like it's kind of
Do you know what a Booyah is? I did not.
I don't know. I'm going to guess it has some sort of maritime tie-in since they've chosen to put an oar and a chicken. So I don't know what a Booyah is. Please enlighten me.
It is a communal stew of vegetables and less desirable cuts of meat cooked in large kettles. So that oar is
it's actually
the pot
okay.
of Booyah.
Okay, all right. And then let's look at the other unfortunate entry.
Green
The
Bay
Rockers.
Rockers. Now you got, I love on the bottom left-hand side, it's a baseball mitt with the two middle fingers down, making the rock and roll sign. That's 10 out of 10. That's pretty good.
That is clever, but
Clever.
It's overdone. Like the correct way to render a baseball glove is how the old Milwaukee Brewers did, with just like the one color, the shape, where you have the M and the B made up by the baseball glove. There's just too many details. Like this is like, again, like this is what happens when you get people designing for sport that don't have reverence for it. They like just have their own way of going about things. They're drawing cartoons. They think it's fun and funny. This looks like something from Red Robin. Like you could order the Red Robin Rockers. It's like a brand new drink or an appetizer or some shit. So these are both atrocious. I hope neither one was picked. I gotta think though the Rockers were the one that were selected.
You'd be correct. You
Okay.
know your design elements. Yeah, even just a 2-year difference between these two, you were able to identify the good one. All right, just a couple final
like,
ones.
Who wants something that says the Booyahs on it? Like, what is this? Who wants something that says the Rockers? This is like how you describe, like how your dad comes in. He's like, "Hey, me and the boys are starting up the band again. We're calling ourselves the Rockers. We're gonna play old Beatles songs out of our garage. We're the Rockers." It's embarrassing.
Yeah, summer collegiate baseball gets a little crazy. Now there's going to be a new team in the Independence League in Laramie. They're going as the Gem City Bison.
Okay.
And they've got the brown, and I like the letter font for Gem City Bison. Now this is, I guess, going to be more of their mascot. I don't know if we'll see this logo that I'm going to show here in a second. I do like the G with the horns on it, a very fuzzy G. I think
this is typography that they're like calling back upon, like frontier times, like when you would have would be the typography that would be on the front of a brothel or something.
Very much so. So this is the mascot, and it basically looks like Fernando Tatis as a bison. It's exactly Fernando Tatis. It appears to be almost, doesn't it?
They gave the bison a mullet. Why did they give him a mullet? That is just the word. And
that's what baseball players look like in 2022, no?
They also gave him Oakley blades. Man, this is rough. I hate this so much. I can't. He's also like, I died. Can we not talk about this anymore? Yeah, can we not talk about this anymore?
No, all right, you just want me to get rid of that one. All right, this is a logo that I think they did really well with.
Okay.
Again, it might have too much going on from the design department, but it's creative. This is from the Coastal Plains League coming up here. It's the same leagues as the Savannah Bananas, the Macon Bacon.
Absolutely.
They are the Ashboro Zookeepers.
Yeah, wow, there's a lot going on there, huh?
This looks like a zoo, like an actual.
Looks like a
I gotta
zoo.
go there. People are going to be tricked, and they're going to expect to see a lion, and they're going to end up seeing 20-year-old college baseball players.
Yeah, this feels again like, I don't know if Brandios did this or not, but it feels at least like they were following in line with Brandios's aesthetic. Lot going on here.
I like it. Again, the colors, like the brown, it's different. It's more unique. I'll say that.
They have achieved the concept of balance. It is not symmetrical, but it is balanced.
Final two. These are the worst two. And so just which one is worse? And Eric, I'm sorry to have to do this to you here, but we've got the Lake County Corn Dogs and the Charleston Dirty Birds.
The Dirty Birds. Well, okay.
Which of these independent teams is worse? These are all new from this past off season. These are brand new.
The Corn Dogs is a cool idea. I'm very troubled by the fact that that's not a fucking corn dog. That's a regular hot dog.
It's true.
He's not encased in cornmeal at all. And if he is, he's the wrong color. That looks like it is made from clip art. I really don't like how Indiana is being covered up by the swoosh. On corn dogs, you have a whole area over there to the left. You could have easily extended the swoosh to go down so that Indiana could have been not covered up. Also, Lake County, the space between the R in corn dog, the L in Lake County, and the distance between the Y of county and the star are not the same. That should be centered between those two items. This thing sucks. Let's look at the next one.
That one definitely sucks. And then this one basically just looks like a weird kind of alternative Angry Birds logo. It's not very original.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's just, again, it's the wrong goddamn style. Wrong. It's like at least better. I like when you weave a little like mischief into these cartoons, so they're not just like happy smiling for children. Dirty Birds. It appears this is for like a mining concept.
West Virginia.
I bet the coal miners are being represented here. The bird itself is not dirty.
Yeah,
the bird should be. Oh, I get it. The canary in the coal mine. I get it. They should. The bird should be dirty, should it not? It's not dirty. That bird is not dirty. That's a very clean bird.
A little bit.
Okay. It's fine. Whatever. It's fine.
He must be running the construction site. Okay, I lied. There are two more. Food identities. You said you like burgers before we came on here.
I do like burgers.
Both AA and AAA for the Rockies. So maybe we're ending on a high note.
Oh, I know where we're going with this one. Green chili cheeseburgers
are really bad. I feel bad for poor Jesus Tinoco because this is going to exist on the internet. This exists on the internet forever.
This is what I mean. Dude, like, you work your whole life to get to become a literal professional athlete, and then they dress you like you're an extra in the movie Good Burger with
That's exactly the reference I was going to use.
And they look, they dress him up like an actual goddamn bun. Like, there are sesame seeds all over him. There's no pride in wearing this. This is a Halloween costume. Why would they do this to my man Jesus?
And on his left arm, there's the H for Hartford made out of
fries. Right. Yeah. I mean, I get the concept. This is definitely this is what's called a design. And you can't see my air quotes right now. Jerk off. This is what somebody's like, oh, cool. I get to have fun. I'll do whatever I want. I won't think about anything or anyone. I'll just make a fun little design of this dumb fucking hat that looks like an actual hamburger, like this guy is working at Hot Dog on a Stick. I feel bad for Jesus, or Jesus, excuse me, and Jesus, the looking down from above and having to weep for this. Yes, he did not die for this. I'll say that.
Albuquerque green chili cheeseburgers. I think they got it right. I like the green and the red, how it plays off. A little bit more respectable, right?
I will say a green chili cheeseburger is one of the greatest food items that exists on this earth. There's nothing I love more than a delicious green chili cheeseburger. If you go to New Mexico, which is where my family hails, my mother's side, even McDonald's serves green chili cheeseburgers because they know the truth. Green chili is delicious. This is the same thing as the tacos. The patch is way, way, way too big. It's a funny concept. It's interesting. I would not wear this. The type on the jersey is just like so overdone. It's got an outline, a bevel, a this, a that. Like you're just doing too much, man. You're doing too much. This is going to age horrifically. It already looks bad, but I like the idea. But really, this is just like something you talk about once and then just never again. Like, this is not good design. This should be like somebody's softball team.
I've been trying to tell people about. I've been trying to tell folks about the bevel, and they just don't listen to me. So I appreciate you pointing out the bevel.
I hate the bevel, dude.
Would you ever wear a cap with an item of food on it? Would you ever wear one of those?
Yes. If done correctly, absolutely. A good hot dog, absolutely. But you can't. Here's the thing: is that like you can't, like you got to make it like. There's just ways to go about it. There are ways to go about cartoons in baseball and sports design that are correct, and there are ways to go about it that is incorrect. And if you like, for example, Dinger, incorrect. Mr. Met, correct. Let me think of some other examples. The much in the same vein, the baseball headed mascot for the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah.
Correct. And then everything we looked at today, incorrect. So there's correct and incorrect. If you're designing it specifically with children in mind, or at least like if it looks like something Hanna-Barbera did, then put it in a cartoon for children and don't waste my goddamn time.
Maybe I'll have to have you back if we do one on mascots. I mean, I've already done the research for it. Did you know the Yankees had a mascot for a while?
Really? What was it? Just like a
might give you
bunch
nightmares.
of money set on fire?
No, he was kind of in the shape of a baseball bat, and his fur had pinstripes on the fur. They did it for like 3 years, for like 1979 to 1981.
Why wouldn't their mascot be a Yankee?
Well, his name was Dandy.
Yankee Doodle Dandy?
Yeah, it was right after the Fanatic hit. And so it was 3 years, and they got rid of it.
Oh, yeah, Gritty. fantastic. Gritty, well done. Dinger, burn in hell.
Dinger. And also, too, if you shout gritty at someone from across the stadium, no problem. Not true for all mascots. You can't just go about shouting for mascots.
Dinger!
We just got kicked off of YouTube. Well, you know what? I think I could cut up the audio and still salvage this podcast. You dropped a couple F-bombs, but you can't be going around saying the Rockies mascot name like that.
I'm sorry. It is racially insensitive to refer to the Rockies mascot. We all know that. That is my apologies.
This has been a whole heck of a lot of fun. Let folks know if they don't, already know who you are, Eric, and D-Line. Where can they find you and your witty takes?
Oh, well, you can just watch this episode over and over and over. Or I'm on the DNBA show, the DNVR Nuggets show, every time that there is a Nuggets basketball game. D-Line is the company that I founded with Blaze, who's also does hockey post game for DNVR. The two of us created this company long ago because I hate sports apparel and I hate sports design because they do it wrong so much more often than they do it right. So I just wanted to make shirts that were for smart people, for thinking people, for people that actually don't want to look like idiots because they actually also like sports. So we ended up making shirts, selling them outside of Mile High. It got bigger and bigger and bigger. Suddenly, Adam Maras and Brandon Spando found me on Twitter, and the rest, as they say, is history. So you can find me all over DNVR. I do all of the design work for DNVR.
And if you sign up for an annual membership to the DNVR.com, you get a free T-shirt.
Hell yeah, you do.
Designed by Eric Wedum.
That's right.
So you gotta love that.
Goddamn right.
This has been great. Make sure you're following him over at DLineCo on Twitter. I'm at Patrick D. Lyons. All our great Rockies content at DNVR_Rockies. As always, it's been a lot of fun for Eric, for me. This has been great. Thank you again for listening in. And you know what they say about momentum? It's only as good as tomorrow's podcast. So I'll talk to you then.